context in India today. I was just reading some articles recently. I was the chairman of CII Chennai Zone last year. So I was read a lot of research reports. One of the reports which said about 2020, 10 years down the line, you're going to have about almost 25 lakhs, 1 crore people, 1.5 crore people, educated youth, jobless. That's going to be a scenario which is going to 2 million sort of people. I was scared to see the statistics. So the solution to all this problem of joblessness is going to be entrepreneurship. I think we need a lot of entrepreneurs, and I was very enthused when Aparo said the entrepreneurship climate in the country is fantastic and it's booming and things like that. It's a very interesting element. So I just thought I'd share with you what, from my perspective, the investors look for in an organization enterprise. When I started my business, I initially thought it was very simple, buying and selling or just creating something and selling. But as I went into the business, it became very complex. The business was very, very complex. And I got lost in the complexity for a very long time. But at some point in my journey, I came to know, initially I thought a lot of stars have to get aligned for a business to be successful. But as I went inside and started getting somewhat successful at some point of time, I just felt that what the entrepreneur's job is to align with 2 stars. There is a customer and there's the investor. There are 2 stars. Aligning that is the critical job of an entrepreneur. So that is when I started realizing that these are the 2 critical pieces for enterprise. The people and the entrepreneurs come in between and convert. That's the investor who's got the money, and there is a consumer who's going to pay the money. So I think the conversion is what is going to happen between the entrepreneur. So when I look at from an investor perspective, 2 things become very critical. One is the entrepreneur, second is the enterprise. When I look down and see at this, if I see it as 1, I have a problem. If I see it as 2, I'm happy. That means, first is the entrepreneur should be able to abstract himself from the organization. I think that is a very critical element. That's why I should see 2 pieces, enterprise and entrepreneur. I think if I am able to see the segregation, I get very enthused and start looking at the organization seriously. And if you also look at the type of business models, you look at we should actually as an entrepreneur understand that at what type of business we should go for fundraising. There are businesses which would start generating cash very fast, very quickly. Then you need to go for debt. If it is just a long decision period and slightly risky business, then you go for equity. I think that's some sort of decision has to be done before we start looking at the fundraising. Having done that, when I look at the whole enterprise from an investor perspective, first let me take the entrepreneur as a group. Usually it's usually not one entrepreneur, it's a piece of people, multiple people are joined together and they are the entrepreneurs. There are 4 things which we look at from an entrepreneur perspective. The first, I think investors come and look at us and first quiz a lot of questions and ask a lot of things to check out the first. Has this guy left the ego in the door and come inside? No? First thing, if the entrepreneur has got a big ego, then there's no room for anybody else. Like that's where the challenge comes into play. They want the entrepreneur to be a very receptive person. I'm not saying that you should not have a self-esteem, but there's a difference between self-esteem and ego. I think taking the ego out of the door is the first thing the entrepreneur should do. The second is looking at the entrepreneur from the vision perspective and how comfortable he is with the vision. There are 2 things. One is to put the vision and then the entrepreneur not being comfortable with the vision. I think that's the first thing it is needed. Many entrepreneurs will talk that they want to be big, they want to do all this stuff, but they're not comfortable in the eyes. They're not comfortable with media, not comfortable with the boards, not comfortable with the investor, not comfortable with the heights. Some people get scared of heights. Might put in the vision, but are you comfortable at the vision? I think not only you, the team around you, are they comfortable with the vision? I had experiences in my life when people said we need to do IPO, we need to go about doing all those stuff, but when the IPO comes and hits you, and you start having barrage of questions and investors quizzing you all the stuff, and many people will start using cold feet. I think it is not only important that putting the vision, the investor will also check whether this guy is really comfortable with that vision. I think it's a very important element. I think that's the second thing which the investors will look for. It is not that bold statement, but how comfortable are they making the bold statement and standing by that. I think that's the second part of the story. The third part is the team and the dream. See, in my life personally, I've seen that when I dream alone, I dream some level. When I dream together, I dream larger. When we founded Take Solutions, till then I was talking about 100 crores, I get comfortable, all those stuff. But when we joined together, H.R. Srinivasan, me and Ravi joined together and said, "Wait, we'll start this whole thing to a bigger thing." They are very capable people. We have one guy is a very strong investor relations person, another person is a very strong financial person, I was strong in business. Together, we could dream really big. I think that directional coherence and then ability to dream together was very important, the synergy. So what happened is that as a team, when we started dreaming together, that became very exciting because we are talking about big things which was not possible in Sweden. Investors like that because when we are synergistically understood what our strengths and weaknesses are together and together we formed a great team, I think that is something which investors look for. Dreaming together as a good team is very important. I think that's the thing. Understanding each guy's weakness and forming a complementary team and synergizing the direction is very important. And the third part. The fourth part, surprisingly, values are also very important. I'll tell you why. At a separate thing, I'll tell you when I go down the direction, my talk, I'll tell you why the values are very important. Investors might not ask a lot of questions on that tab, but they will ask fundamental values, what this organization is standing for, and these guys are all together. It could be as simple as saying that I'm a domain specialization guy. That could be a value. Many values. I think values are also very important when the entrepreneurs join together because there are many times you have to take decisions on the grain. Not many times you have data. There are not processes available. So how do you take decisions? Values are what which you fall back on to take those decisions. I think that's something. So if you have fundamental values, strong values which you believe in, I think that is also a very important element. I think these are four critical pieces investors look for. If you're able to establish these things, then the diligence on the entrepreneur as a whole passes through. Next comes the enterprise. So once the entrepreneurship and the team is in coherence and we find that they are in a pretty solid shape, we move to the enterprise perspective. From enterprise perspective, the first thing is that, see, we talk about a lot of technology and all those stuff, right? So great things. But technology without customer is of no value. Okay, I have eloquently talked so much of technologies and all this stuff. I have not moved a investor. We can talk a lot of technology, but we're not able to back it up with the customer. That's all. Just hot air. So the key part would be is that first your differentiated value proposition for your customer. That's the first thing, and back it up with customers. That's the biggest story behind the whole part. If you're not able to back up with customers' success stories and customers' part, then we have a challenge. I think that is where we have to work a lot. Bring in customers. Technology stories are fine, but back it up with a lot of customers, right? Bring it up with customers. So that part, customer part, there are a couple of questions. One is, how differentiated is your value proposition and does the customer love it? Second, how many customers fall in the segment who are going to buy this product? Right? That's the second part of the question. We'll answer on that. And third question is, how are you positioned to cater to that? Maybe you have a good product, maybe you have success stories, but you cannot scale it because the customers want it from a bigger guy. You can't sell the enterprise. Many things could be there. So strategically, how are you positioned to cater to that market? I think these are three questions we need to answer on the customer side. If you are strong on these three areas, that you have a differentiated value proposition, customers are loving it, the market is huge, and I'm well established, well positioned to cater to the market. If you are able to do that, that's a big entry point to your enterprise, and then you open up for a bigger discussion. The next comes into the organization. Once you are done with your customer value proposition and your selling part, that comes in the organization. Another tricky part. See, entrepreneurs have to differentiate an organization and enterprise. Entrepreneurs, right? They are different and the enterprise is different. When you look at organization, obviously first is the team, the good team. You have to put in the right team for the right job. I actually, a long time back, I read a book called War. In that book, Napoleon Bonaparte, how he won wars, okay, how he became such a huge thing. I think that epitomizes what the organizational should be. Napoleon actually is a very short person. Actually, it's a very short thing. When they elected him as the army chief, they were scared. Hey, this small guy, what is he going to do? How is he going to take us all to that big thing? Actually, he did a couple of things very beautifully. First, he rallied the full troop to a crusade. He said, Europe is France. Build up that crusade to one big journey towards a French nation. Second, he brought the right people in the whole mix. Unified the direction very clearly with them. Then empowered them completely. So what happens? Small teams were able to be on the field and take big decisions and dislodge armies 4 times, 3 times bigger than their army. That is the entrepreneurial army which we have to set. Where we have to create the organization with very top-notch people, good people, give them the unify the direction, empower them completely, and put them on the field. I think that is, if you're able to demonstrate that to investors, it's a very, very, very good message, nice message. And that is where values come into play. These are people who identify the direction, leave them on the field, ask them to be empowered to take decisions, and they have to use the values to take decisions. I think that's another important element where values will come into play in that part. So an empowered organization which is taking decisions at the grassroots level would be a fantastic and a very important element to convince to do